Well, it's been 2 weeks. How are you doing?
Hello.
Haven't done this. Weren't able to do it last week. We had some things going on, but now we are back. Welcome to the show. What are you drinking this evening, Greg Moan?
Hi. I'm having something called a Golden Drac.
Golden Drac. I had that earlier. Excellent. And I'm also, as well as the Golden Drac, I'm having the hard root beer. Mission Brewery hard root beer. Oh, Spider was about to join us, and he walked away.
Took a swerve to the right.
But that's okay. It gives us a chance to catch up. How you doing?
I'm doing very well. It's been a couple of interesting weeks, and I'm if anybody's been paying attention, I'm making this short film, and I've done a whole bunch of work on it, and now we're waiting on other people to do some work on it. So hopefully, we're going to start doing the circuit, the film circuit, in a couple of weeks.
And
so
remind the folks where they could find you or that film in the near future on the intrawebs.
Well, unfortunately, the film won't be seen on this, but to find me, it's Good Egg Productions, and you can do it goodeggproductions.com. I do have a Vimeo page and a YouTube link on there. Hey, now. And you should see what you can't see. Sometimes I have to make things private.
I thought I did.
At the request of some people. Anyway, so yeah, if you Google me on Good Egg Productions, you'll find everything about me.
Well, good. You said you had a topic to bring up, but before you do that, I want to thank the guys from Nerding Out About who invited me to sit in on their podcast last week. The topic was, they always do film topics, and the topic that evening was the 1994 Arnold Schwarzenegger film True Lies. So
I like
that's
that
something
film.
that they do. Love that film. And we were all in agreement on that. Don't mean to spoil the podcast, but we had a great time. We sat down for an hour.
Spoiler alert.
I drove out to their place. Nerding Out About is on iTunes. It's also there on Facebook and Twitter, and you can also find them on Stitcher, I believe. They came out at the grand opening and sat with us, and then Hutch a few weeks back also came out and discussed Emmy nominations with us, and I invited them to come on back during our Emmy party, by the way.
When is that?
That is September 20th on a Sunday. We're going to have a live YouTube party here.
I am mindlessly excited for that show.
Come on out and fill out a ballot for $5. All that money goes into a pot and will go to a charity that Gods and Monsters is going to name at a later date. But the winner, who can name the most nominees who win the Emmy, can win the grand prize, which will be also given to you at a later date. Sorry,
what just happened there?
I wanted to have a nice way of saying grand prize, but we don't know what it is yet, so they haven't decided what that grand prize will be. But I've seen at least 35 or 40 people have said yes to the invite on Facebook.
That's cool.
The tricky thing about the invites is I created the invite, but I'm only allowed to invite the people that I am personally friends with. I can't just invite all 6,000 friends of Gods and Monsters Facebook page.
In a way, I'm glad that that's the way that is, but in another way, it does make it very inconvenient. And I think you need to turn my mic down just a little bit, because I am way louder than you, and you are the host. You should be a little bit louder than me, I think.
Thank you for saying that.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I kind of wish it could get out to all 6,000 people, but in a way also, not everybody lives here, and it made people find that to be annoying, that they're getting spammed with invites for things they can't go to, and that makes them sad.
I put it out to about 60 people, so the people that I thought might be most interested in such a thing.
What we're going to do is just come on out. We're going to just do live commentating during the Emmy Awards. Think of it as a director's commentary for a live television event.
I will most likely be making fun of the commercials that happen during that show.
Yes, the commercials and whatever silly musical acts or whatever it is they do. I'm not sure what they're going to be doing it. The host.
Who is the host?
The Emmys this year, because the Emmys will be on Fox.
Ryan Gosling.
So they thought they would thought they would go with one of their Fox go-to guys right now, and the name of that person
Sean Hannity.
is think more Fox Television than Fox News.
Kiefer Sutherland.
It is Ryan. It is Andy Samberg. Correct.
Oh, that's going to be great.
Yes,
he's funny.
Andy Samberg, which I've never seen him do anything except for he did show up at a roast last year, a Comedy Central roast, and I forget who it was, but he was
Was it
very.
Justin Bieber?
No, maybe it was. You know what? Maybe it was. Somebody, I'm sure, will correct us on that.
Mm-hmm.
But he did a really good job standing at the podium and doing a little bit of roasting. So I think he could do a good job on this. I'm not entirely sure, because he's got a weird sense of humor, like he did at the roast, and not everybody gets it. You got to be very mainstream here, or you'll get like Letterman, who got slammed for hosting the Oscars for being a little too quirky.
Well, I am a huge fan of Precinct. What is it? 99. What is it? What is that show?
We're so good with our info on our shows.
Precinct 99. No,
It is. Wow, this is so bad.
the 99.
Brooklyn Nine-Nine.
Brooklyn Nine-Nine.
Yes.
Yeah. I love that show so much I can't remember the name of it.
Right.
But I really do enjoy that show. The first season was certainly the best.
Right out of the gate, the show got great reviews. It got nominated and won the Golden Globe for Best Comedy Show and Best Actor for Andy Samberg. He's got a Golden Globe at his house.
He was fantastic in the show. I mean, for being a goofball, he played the goofball quite smartly, and that's not a word, but he played that goofball character just really, really well, and didn't make it too goofy.
Season 2 a little bit different, perhaps, than Season 1, but it's a hit for Fox, and he's going to be the host of the Emmy Awards. So I believe they start at 8. They'll go from 8 to 10-ish, probably go all the way till 11. We're going to sit here and drink beer, and we're going to have some trivia going on. People come on out, fill out your Emmy ballots, and turn them in. Try and win the grand prize, and just come out and have some fun.
It'll be a good time.
Yes. So what's going on with you? You said you had a topic that maybe might be interesting to our audience.
I do have a topic. It's kind of a nerd thing, and it's something that popped up on my Facebook feed last night, and I felt compelled. No, I felt obligated to respond to and to prove wrong. The thing was, it was a multi-panel picture of how E.T. and Yoda were connected.
Yes.
And the thought was that somehow E.T. is a Jedi.
Okay.
And they said it was impossible to argue it. And I challenge accepted.
Because he is seen, and I remember the panels. Were there 4 panels or 5?
There were 6 panels, to be honest.
First panel shows the Senate.
Yes, that's right.
During
from
one of the
Phantom
Star Wars
Menace.
movies, yes. And in the Senate, in one of the wide shots, there is the ETs. We don't know what they're actually called, but they've got a Senate seat, so they must be important.
Mm-hmm.
The ETs were there, pumping their fist up in the air, so that explains to us that even if it was a long time ago,
they are hard metal rockers.
Right. They are a part of the universe.
Yes.
So, and it's, of course, all those Star Wars movies say a long time ago in a galaxy far, far away, so we can think of those as prequels to the movie E.T.
That's right.
E.T. comes to the planet, Earth, and
one of the connections there is, one of the things that they show is Elliot is playing with some Star Wars characters.
Yes.
And that's a really far reach for this thing.
Yes.
But the main thing that they were pointing out was that in the Halloween scenes, one of the Halloween scenes, they make E.T. a ghost and move him around. Anyway, there's a little character or a kid dressed as Yoda.
Yes.
And E.T. stops and looks at Yoda as if he's familiar with him or recognizes him.
correct.
So the thought or the theory is that they know each other and that E.T. is a Jedi.
Not very far off. E.T. showing some very impressive Jedi powers, considering he made those bicycles fly in the air.
Yes.
And I
He
don't know
can
about
heal.
I don't know about healing. I'm not too quite sure when it comes to Jedi's healing each other. If so, perhaps Luke would have healed his arm back on.
No! Oh, that's a good point. I never really thought of that one.
But perhaps just minor cuts and abrasions. Yeah, they can do that kind of healing.
He brought a flower back to life. That's some next level shit right there.
Well, if crotchety old Yoda with his cane can wield a lightsaber, why not a hobbling little E.T. who rocked back and forth? He could do his acrobatics and flip around. It's all possible. But
why not? I'll tell you why not. Because they did a little research.
yes.
And I know I'm blowing the whole topic here, but first of all, let me hear your thoughts on the theory.
The theory that he is a Jedi?
That he is a Jedi and that he knows who Yoda is.
No, I'm going to have to say once Halloween comes around and one of Kenner Toys Yoda costumes comes out, you got to say no, they're not part of that universe.
Well, apparently they are part of that universe because it was shown in Phantom Menace that they are part of that universe.
Yes.
But it's a one-way street. It doesn't work both ways.
It's a one-way street. That's a good way to put it. Yes.
Because there's a couple of reasons here that I went into detail, and I won't go into such detail with this, although I could because we're talking. Anyway,
Killing time.
here's the situation. There is a timeline, and if you wanna go by that a long time ago in a galaxy far, far away, yes, you have to give some sort of credit to that. And a long time ago, based on a universal timeline that I looked up on the internet and verified, is 6.9 billion years.
Okay.
That's a long time ago.
All right. That's a long time.
That's when A New Hope happened,
wow.
based on Earth years.
Okay.
So we are to believe that somehow the ET race and the Yoda race in 6.9 billion years has not evolved at all or changed.
Wow.
Which is that's a lot to ask. That's a lot to believe. Now, there's a whole time travel bullshit thing that you can throw in there. Now, the other thing is Yoda is a costume on Earth.
Correct.
Based on a movie that Earthlings created.
Correct.
And we are to believe that we just perchance, by some happenstance, got it all right. And this actual alien, who may or may not know Yoda, recognizes this fictional character that we invented by happenstance, but got it right. The odds of that are... I'm thinking the odds of me getting married are better than that.
Right. Whatever odds you were about to give, my next response was going to be, so you're saying there's a chance.
There is a chance.
Because it happened.
There's a chance, but there's a better chance that all those Toy Story or all those Pixar movies link up somehow.
Oh, they do. They do. Andy's mom is the same little girl who gave up Jessie.
That's what I've heard.
Years ago.
Yeah, that makes sense.
And Andy, as a little boy in Toy Story 1, is always running around, parading around the house in Jessie's hat, not Woody's hat.
That's right, because it was his mom.
Right, and the father was murdered and was never seen in any of the movies. But no, I don't know.
Where did that father
We don't
go?
know what happened to the dad. There's a lot of broken families in Pixar movies.
Was there ever a father ever?
No, there wasn't. Not that they ever discussed. And she was pregnant in Toy Story 1. She was pregnant, and there was no dad.
That.
Yeah, she was.
Oh, that's right, because there was a little. No. Wait a minute. There was a baby sister.
Okay, maybe she wasn't pregnant.
No, she wasn't.
But
there
she
was
had,
just a baby sister.
But the baby sister who was still in the crib, so she was a
yes.
year or
Drooly.
two. Right. So,
all right. So what about when they are moving? Okay, so they're in the move in Toy Story 1.
Yes, they're moving.
Which I hate when people refer to the first movie as 1, because that's not the title of the movie.
It's just Toy Story.
It's just Toy Story. So when they're moving, and in the very end when Buzz and Woody fly and then they land in the box. Well, he's sitting in the back. Andy's sitting in the back seat. Who's in the passenger seat? Is there no one in the passenger seat?
This is at the end of the first movie.
End of the first movie, yeah.
Who was in the passenger seat?
Yeah.
Was it the baby in the reversible baby seat?
You know what?
It was, because remember how there's a scene where the baby laughs and looks at the rearview mirror when she sees the toys go by the rearview mirror? She gives that little laugh.
So where is that father?
Yeah. Oh no.
I don't like
he has
that.
abandoned them.
Where did she get all her money?
Right. Maybe in the insurance settlement after the murder.
Maybe it's a bad divorce and he's just a dentist and
never to be spoken. I was thinking
several $1,000s a month.
I was thinking at the end of Toy Story 3, when Andy decides to hand over the toys to the little girl, he would have given some sort of speech to the girl like, "These toys were very important to me. They helped me through some tough times when my dad died or when my dad was gone." But they didn't do that. They didn't do any of that. He was just like,
and it's not because it would have been too dark, because they got dark.
Oh yeah. Oh my God. Up. they will take you down and up.
I will say right here that I just saw this week, coming in 2017, Toy Story 4. Why?
Why? Because why not?
Because money.
I have a feeling it won't have anything to do with Andy, because he's gone and grown up now. It'll be the little girl, and it'll be
No. As I understand it, it is a story between Woody and Bo Peep. It's kind of a love story.
Okay.
And I don't know if it's going to have anything to do with any of the actual human characters in the existing stories.
Was Bo Peep in number 3, or was she? They talk about her like she was one of the fallen soldiers.
I don't know,
because how much longer in Andy's teenage life was he playing with little Bo Peep doll? I know there's always the damsel in distress scenario that kids like to play.
No, I think you grow out of that when you discover real girls.
Right.
And you're just like, what do I need this toy girl for?
I need to. Or you think he would have just given Bo Peep to his little sister, and Bo Peep would just be down the hall.
It would still be in the house. Yeah, that's a good point.
So
that's all I had.
Right. That's all right. I was just kind of hoping our guests would have been here by now.
You know what? We'll talk really briefly about, Toy Story 4 is coming, and then there's also Finding Dory.
Yes.
I'm very excited for Finding Dory. I think that's going to be a really, really interesting story, and it's probably one I'm going to cry about too.
Because Nemo was so well done, and it's going to be from all the same people. The D23 convention was last week, and the girls and I were actually watching it live as the Disney Infinity employees were periscoping.
No. Periscope.
The Disney Infinity employees were periscoping it from the audience because people
get
like
on this
us,
Periscope train.
We're big fans of the games, and we're very excited because in 2 weeks, version 3 of Disney Infinity comes out with Star Wars, and we couldn't be any happier. They put up a timeline during D3 of the movies that are coming out for the next 5 years.
Oh, dear.
Of course, Star Wars is coming out in December, but before that, The Good Dinosaur is coming out. That's the next Pixar movie.
I saw a little bit of that.
Believe me, that it's the movie where the scenario of what if the meteor didn't hit the Earth? And it just goes by. That comes out actually before Star Wars. Star Wars comes out. The next is Zootopia, another animal-themed movie. Live-action Jungle Book movie comes out.
Nope, not interested.
Then we come into 2016, and it's going to be Alice, Looking Glass.
You know what? I'm really interested in that one.
That's not anything to do with Tim Burton, is it?
I don't know, but I do, it's not live action, right? It's animated.
I can't tell from the look up here, but I just thought everything was going live action now. Next will be Marvel Civil War, followed by the summer of 2016, which will be Finding Dory, and a movie called BFG, but I can't make out. Somebody in the audience just took a picture of the timeline. BFG.
Well, I'm too much into the video game Doom series to know what BFG is.
BFG, would you explain?
I can't say it on this podcast.
Oh, okay. Well, it's probably not a Disney film then.
Big effing gun.
Oh. Next after that will be a live-action version of Pete's Dragon.
That's not going to do well.
Yeah, I don't know. There's another movie here. It says Marvel, but the guy standing in front of it, I can't make it out. Then there's another movie here that I don't know what it is. But then coming in the winter of 2016 is Rogue One, the next Star Wars movie that is going to be. Rogue One is going to be the premise of the first Star Wars movie from 1977.
Who is banging over there? What is going on over there?
Order in the court.
Okay.
The role-playing games are going on. It's Friday night. The role-playing games are going on.
It's a party.
The first one-off, what is it called? Standalone Star Wars movie that comes out next year is called Rogue One.
Spin-off type thing, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
These are going to be, the story of Rogue One is going to be the people who stole the original Death Star plans and got them back to the Rebels.
Oh,
and this
interesting.
This is their story and how they stole the plans. So this is one of those standalone movies, and it'll definitely be a prequel.
Okay.
So it's going to squeeze... No, this would be actually...
Well, it'd be between 3 and 4.
Correct, between 3 and 4. Thank you. Next will be a live-action Beauty and the Beast, which comes out in winter of 2016.
Terrible idea.
Guardians of the Galaxy 2 in spring of 2017.
$170 million opening weekend.
Yes, and followed by Star Wars Episode 8.
$208 million opening weekend.
Followed by, and that's all we have for 2017, Toy Story 4 and the next Pirates of the Caribbean movie, which I think is the 5th one now, right?
Stop it.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
So
let him go to sleep. You know, he's been doing this character for a very, very long time.
He loves it, though, because he's good at it. So they put out the Star Wars timeline. We mentioned the Star Wars movie December. Rogue One comes out in 2016. Episode 8 comes out in 2017.
Does that have a tagline yet?
No, it's just called Episode 8.
Okay.
The next movie is just called Star Wars Story right now. Is probably going to be what they announced is going to be the Han Solo
and that's so weird.
Origin story.
Oh, yeah. Okay. They never did really say titles for that, so okay.
Yeah, too far out, I guess, for that. But I believe they've already picked the director, and now the next thing will be is who the hell is going to play Han Solo.
It is... Oh... Okay,
it's a prequel. It's a Han Solo origin story.
I was going to ask for episode 8. Have they talked about J.J. Abrams heading that one?
No, I think they said the next director. You know what? I can't say for sure, but I know
Darren Aronofsky.
I do know that the Rogue One movie is being directed by the ones who directed the Lego movie.
No kidding.
And,
that'll be interesting.
I'm not sure about anything beyond that, who the directors are, but I believe some of them were named. I kind of would like J.J. Abrams to just take the main episode movies, episode 7, 8, and 9.
I feel like that would be one of the better things you could possibly do to keep continuity and feel. And here's what's going to happen is, let's say episode 7 is just blow your pants off amazing.
Right. What director wants to take the next job?
Well, obviously the director is already going to be selected, and probably even pre-production, maybe even actual production is going to be happening at that time.
I mean, we're in the middle of 2015 right now. That movie's supposed to come out in the middle of 2017. That's 2 years.
It's got to get started very, very quickly. And what happens is, then how is that director going to be affected if it's not J.J. Abrams?
Right.
How is he going to change things or change?
Well, he directed 2 Star Trek movies back to back were J.J. Abrams, and that was smart.
Weren't they both good?
Yes, they both look the same. They both look good. And so that's the next 6 years of our lives. I mean, it's a good time to be alive right now with all these Star Wars and Pixar movies and theme park events that are coming up. Star Wars Land, or whatever they're going to call it, is coming to Disney Hollywood Studios.
I think that's just going to be Harry Potter or Disney, right?
Yes. This is their reaction to, and I guess it's a good thing that Harry Potter did so well, because Disney said, holy shit, get George Lucas on the phone. We want to buy his company from him.
Oh, yeah.
Because Harry Potter has been so successful.
What did they pay? They paid $4 billion?
$4 billion.
Oh, pocket change compared to what they're going to return
cash
on that.
and stock. And George Lucas has not been seen or heard from at all since this has been going on.
He's busy with, Singapore hooker boys.
Isn't it funny that, whoa,
that's
really?
Allegedly.
Isn't it funny that when...
And that's how you start a rumor.
Off camera, we were talking about Twin Peaks and David Lynch, and it was pretty much decided a long time ago that if David Lynch wasn't going to be attached to this, nobody wanted to do it. And it's the exact
nor should
opposite,
they.
And it's the exact opposite for Star Wars. If George Lucas is involved, we don't want anything to do with it. How messed up was that?
Well, because George Lucas crapped on my childhood. I mean, he really raped it over and over again.
He should have. I still don't know the reason for him directing all 3 movies. I'm surprised he didn't hand it off.
You're saying 1, 2, and 3?
Yes.
Spielberg
given that chance to finally direct a Star Wars.
Did he have less involvement in 3? Because somehow that was a pretty good movie. I will say that when I heard, and I was burned with 1.
Yes.
I was hesitant to go into 2, and I got exactly what I deserved.
But they got slightly better as we got into 2.
And then when 3 was coming out, I heard about this lava surfing scene.
We knew it was coming for
and I was
years.
Like, you know what? Absolutely not. Just no. And I waited until I bought a box set before I actually watched episode 3. And it was actually not bad. It was
good,
pretty
and
good.
It was pretty dark for a George Lucas movie.
I do enjoy how it ended. The ending was probably one of the best performances I've ever seen out of Hayden Christensen.
Yeah, the fire in his eyes, and he's got no legs, and he's crawling up. And I mean, that was pretty dark. That was one of the first of the 6 movies, I think, that actually hit PG-13, because it's just like,
were the others PG?
I think they were just PG.
No, screw that.
And it's like, we got to knock this one up to a PG-13. He's lost both legs here, and he's spitting fire. I'm looking around for Spider. I see him behind me.
Oh, yeah?
I'm going to give him the wave.
Give him the wave.
Because we've hit the 24-minute mark, and we haven't had
we got to get
yet.
this show moving.
But you know what? It's good to talk. Just to talk about what's been going on lately. And there's been a lot of Star Wars news, and it's going to be so great for us to have Star Wars in the theme parks. Unfortunately, it should have happened 10 years ago, though.
The Star Wars theme park should have happened 10 years ago.
Theme parks and all that, yeah.
Well, they didn't know that a single series of movies could carry as even successfully as Harry Potter would have.
Right, and even though the episodes 1, 2, and 3 of Star Wars were considered disappointments, they still made a shit ton of money.
Oh my God!
And they still keep the fans going. Come on over.
And if you look at a franchise, a franchise is always more than just the films.
We're going. You just come on in anytime.
A franchise is marketing. It's licensing. It's toys. It's games. It's everything. Yeah, those are the good headphones, and that's a good microphone.
We were just talking about the Star Wars announcements that came out in the past week or 2.
Oh, which ones?
It's a good time to be it's a good time to be alive. Yeah, which ones? No, well,
you heard maybe something about it?
No, I haven't, because I am neither a Disney-phile nor am I a Star Wars fan.
Well, that's kind of what this has been about, so you can just go on now.
You can bring the mic a little closer to you.
Oh, sure. Well, the interesting thing about that is I used to be a very fanatical Star Wars fan, and I have a long-standing history of the park, so I have these really esoteric insights as to what's going on right now, but I can't contextualize them in anything because I haven't been following any of the fandom news.
Right now it's just we're getting artist renderings of what these pretty little parks are going to look like, but we're still a year or 2 away from really seeing a ribbon cutting.
I know a little bit about that.
Tell us, please.
You're not getting artist renderings, for one thing.
something.
Everybody, I do keep seeing everybody circulate all this, all this news, all these rumors, all these speculations, and a lot of renderings and graphics and concept art and all of these things. And I can actually provide some insight into this.
Please.
Because I worked for the parks for a couple of years, and you can't be in scenic fabrication in Orlando and not hear all the dirty details.
You're hearing the word on the street that has not made it to the internet, so you let us know what you've heard.
Yeah, I hear. Well, first of all, as a former Star Wars fan, I know what the fandom is probably.
Time out 1 second. What is a former Star Wars fan?
Somebody who enjoyed episodes 4, 5, and 6.
Yeah,
and was so disappointed by 1, 2, and 3 that you said, screw it, I'm out?
Yeah, the market saturation and the herd mentality that went with it. Like, we all kind of lost our minds when Episode 1 happened. We all ran out and bought all the preview merch, and we all bought the Jar Jar Slurpees. And then
That was a mistake.
And then 18 months post, I felt like I was taking crazy pills because everyone else was still all in.
Right.
And I felt terrible about it.
You were the one that came to their,
There's
to
just
their
that
senses.
whole not admitting that the movie was bad.
And you want, as a fan, you want it to be good. You want to pull for it. It's like
so bad.
So like the Andy Tartakovsky shorts come out and you get very excited again. But it was always like that. The expanded universe stuff was always richer and more beautiful and more immersive than anything we had ever been given officially. And I mean, as fans, we can fill in all the gaps and rectify all the issues with our own personal headcanon as much as we want, but sooner or later, you got to call it what it is, and it was bad.
Sure, that makes sense.
Do you think you can be brought back into the fold and come back and you'd be accepted with open arms if you came back for these new movies?
If I were to have a set of parameters 3 years ago, if somebody were to give me an ultimatum and be like, what would it take for you to come back to Star Wars and give Star Wars another chance?
George Lucas would be gone.
Yeah, I'd say like
Check.
run George Lucas completely the hell out of town.
Check.
Pretend
Done.
like the prequels never happened.
Pretty much done.
Pretty much.
That's good. Yeah, true.
They're kind of meeting all my parameters, so I'm approaching these ones with cautious optimism. Much like how I approach whenever Fox tackles a Marvel property, I'm like I'll if I'm going to give it any form of a chance, it's not going to be financially. So I will steal the movies off the internet and check them out, and I will give it a chance that way. But they've kind of burned through all their goodwill. They fooled me 3 times. That's all on me.
How does that work then? Is fool me once, shame on me. Fool me twice, shame on you. Fool me thrice. Fuck off.
Right. I mean, what else is there for that third one?
I don't know.
You're going to bleep that, right?
No, we don't.
No, do a little bleep on there. I think that'd be funny because we rarely say that word on this.
I'm not going to edit.
So back to the parks.
Yes.
There is. Do you guys remember when they started bloviating about their Avatar land, Pandora?
Yeah.
For Animal Kingdom.
Quite a while ago.
And they
That never happened, did it?
They tried to tantalize us with the
beautiful artist renderings.
Right, but the artist renderings were literally like a jungle forest. They weren't in any way, shape, or form anything that you were going to see at the theme park. It was just like, look how pretty, which is what
listen,
in all
yeah,
fairness.
It was
that's
a house
what
of lies.
Avatar was. I mean, Avatar
right.
was just a created rainforest. Is basically what it was.
Yeah. So but I mean, and they're not going to build a rainforest with animals running through it, and you're going to trip over trees and almost die. It's there's going to be gift stands and kiosks and places you can buy lemonade and churros,
of course,
and doofy costume characters wandering around, and there's going to be rides and play areas. It's not going to be a rainforest, but that's what they showed us.
Right.
They're at this stage with Star Wars. I can guarantee you. That those renderings you see, those Epcot-esque renderings with a Death Star and basically a national tour, a tour of nations thing where you move through planets, that's fake. That is so unequivocally, profoundly fake. For several, before I get into knowing why I know that's fake, I'll tell you why it's logistically fake. One, again, Disney said, kind of implicitly stated that and shown us that all that prequel crap is going away.
Right.
If they're going to reach out to anything that's happened prior, it's going to be the expanded universe stuff that was licensed through Lucas, but was not strictly canonical.
That's pretty smart too, because the
Right.
people with money, the people who really will spend the money, I think don't like the prequels.
Of course.
It wasn't for them. It was
we-
for a new generation.
It's been on us this entire time that we've never stopped throwing money at any aspect of this franchise, regardless of the quality.
so it's
our
our,
fault.
our
It's our
fault.
fault.
So I don't feel like but
We
Disney,
encouraged
but
this.
Disney's mandate, you're not going to have they're not going to have a Geonosis Stadium. They're not going to have pod racing. They're not going to have Camino. They're not going to have any of these areas, and they're certainly not going to have them at the expense of anything that might end up successful from the new films.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
And when you look at those renderings, there is nothing from the new films. And when you look at the tentative semi-authentic concept art that they're kicking around, it's Avatar level, dipping your toe in the water stuff. And if you notice, none of it is spoilers for the new movies.
Right. They said there was going to be whatever it is they create. It's going to be a whole new world. It's not going to be anything from any of the films.
Aladdin.
Yeah. Like,
I mean, it's first of all, what you got to understand is, and speaking as a former employee of the theme parks, they lie. They lie to you. They lie to everyone. They lie to themselves. They're lying. So don't believe anything that they are saying.
they put out the renderings. It makes the investors happy. It keeps the stock at the numbers it needs to be.
It gets everybody all like
Because it's
antsy in their pantsies.
Has it
and,
been like 2 years now since they bought it from Lucas, or we're coming in close to 2 years ago? And it's
That
like
sounds about right.
it's like
Yeah.
people have been itching, like, hey, when's this going to happen? When are we going to see a park? So they throw out these
yeah.
renderings that don't really mean anything.
Unofficially, when I worked for Universal in the back rooms, the analogy we'd use was very Joker-esque. Disney's like Fox or Nestle or Pepsi or any of these huge companies where they are making money from so many different. They have so many different streams of revenue, places you don't even think they're making money, and they got their fingers in so many pies. They can't not make money. And when money has become that devalued, they no longer make money-making decisions. They're dogs chasing cars. The Joker analogy. They just do things. You'll watch Disney tank their own films prior to release, like John Carter of Mars.
Oh, yeah.
You'll watch them almost gut their holdings. You'll watch them purchase things for millions of dollars and then vault them, like just forever. You'll watch them own things and deny other people the rights to them. Like for a hot minute, when they purchased Miramar, Disney had the rights to Hellraiser,
Right.
of all things.
What were they going to do with that?
Yeah, literally,
so-
literally, just not let other people merchandise
I
Hellraiser.
really want to talk about Hellraiser now.
Oh yeah,
That's another show. That's another show.
Like these. Think about the Potter expansions. We didn't even on the ground floor building Potter. We didn't know when it was going to open until it was open. We didn't know what features were going in until they were going. And I remember
But
working
that's
on.
a good thing, though, isn't it? I mean, that's a
Yeah,
good
yeah,
thing
yeah.
on a managerial level, is that you don't want too much information going out there.
It's not so much that as you don't want to promise people that the dress is going to do this in the dress shop,
Right.
or Harry's going to pop out of this window, and then like the robot doesn't work or the lighting effects don't function.
Or
and, yeah.
if the fire didn't work coming out of the dragon,
Right,
you don't
right.
want to say, "Oh my God, we're going to have this amazing dragon
Yeah.
with fire coming out."
Lower
of it.
the expectations.
The dragon was originally supposed to have like animatronic elements, and they were nixed. And it was
Is that right?
basically yeah. And they were working with Lockheed Martin to make sure that the aerodynamics on the wings were hurricane safe, so that
Wow.
no matter what angle the dragon had his upwards facing wing pointed at that time, it would not rip off due to a strong wind gust. Or
That
something.
makes a lot of sense,
And then
yeah.
they're like, you know what, just make it an effing statue. And then it, for a while there, it blew fire, and it was extraordinarily impressive. And then they brought in some people for a PR stunt, and sure as shit, the dragon went off to oohs and ahs and very rapidly incinerated a pigeon. That was
wow.
or one of those.
There's got to be video of that.
It was during a kind of. I'm sure it's.
Somebody's got to have cell phone video.
Yeah, I'm sure there is or there
Oh,
isn't. But,
I'm going to Live Leak immediately after this.
it was not a public thing, and so
Yeah.
they geared back what the dragon could do.
Safety first.
Yeah, I wasn't
Not on
there.
my
It's just
productions.
what I hear, but. You're going to see the same thing happen with Star Wars. They're going to want like the Wampa to jump out and take a swing at you, but they've learned from like Everest and countless other projects that you don't Don't tell people that it's going to do that, and don't promise. We'll see what works. And they're sure as shit not going to make any real serious moves until the movies start coming out, because if these movies are wild successes, they're going to want that one scene somehow incorporated into this. And if these movies are terrible, they're going to want to shove them in a corner and vault them. And they're all and if they are the death knell of the franchise, which I don't expect them to be.
No, I don't think it's possible.
However,
but they are going to want to preemptively shut this crap down as quickly as they possibly can.
Or just revert back to episodes 4, 5, and 6.
Don't expect any serious movement on the. I mean, they'll break the ground, they'll move some things around structurally, but don't expect anything wild until those movies come in and are long gone, and we are all kind of like in the afterglow, or maybe have reached the point of Star Wars fatigue, much like with Potter, well after the fact. Just out of necessity,
so
then we'll start learning things.
I haven't really heard like a launch date for any of this stuff. And
You won't.
Is that for a reason?
Yeah,
they
it was
don't
like Potter, or Transformers, and it's funny because Transformers was a prefabricated. They knew exactly how Transformers was going to be built and done from the moment they launched it in Singapore. They knew how it was going to happen in Orlando, and they still were like coming summer of blah blah blah.
Right.
And it was like, well, what's summer mean? That's like you can stretch summer out to like a 7-month period over the course of the year if you want to be deliberately vague about it.
So they do that deliberately.
Yeah, sure, certainly. Because again, if something
That was Memorial Day to Labor Day.
Yeah.
That's summer.
Memorial Day to Labor Day. Yeah, but
Labor
Day is
September
September 7th, and it's still miserable hot
you'll
here.
see,
Yeah.
you'll see Disney make a lot more like wild, grandiose claims than any of the other parks, like Universal or Six Flags. Not that I can think of any time Six Flags has ever been on the news other than people being arrested
People
or dying.
right.
But you're not going to see them make. You'll probably see Disney make a lot of like broader claims because again, they just do things. Mandates happen, and it's like one person, and nobody else debates them or could be bothered, and whole things change based on the whim of a single executive that way. And,
when these events come up like Comic-Con or D23, they're kind of forced to. You have to say something at this,
yeah.
so you got to stand up in front of all these people and say something. So what you're saying is they got to put a couple of pretty pictures up there, and that's just kind of to shut everybody up for a while.
Yeah, certainly. Like E3, like SquareSoft.
Yeah, you have to keep the buzz going.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, and the buzz going keeps the stockholders happy, and yeah, absolutely.
Correct.
All right, Spider's here to explain it to us and keep it real.
Yeah, so like kind of slow your rolls, guys.
That's right. Thanks for reeling us back in. This is what this show's all about. We're about being real.
Yeah, and more than any other franchise, I know from personal experience, you want to approach everything with cautious enthusiasm because we, as a collective community, lost our freaking minds over Star Wars for like 10 years, and it was garbage and embarrassing. And don't do it again, man. Don't keep doing it. It's bad. It's bad. Like you won't get quality stuff until you stop doing that.
Phantom Menace came out in '99, and after Jurassic Park came out, Lucas said, "Hey, you know what? These computers are starting to do something." And then from that moment on, it built. It built for 5 years, something he probably never could have lived up to.
Oh no, I'm looking at the. I'm one of those rare birds that I am a fan of the Star Trek films, the J.J. Abrams ones.
He's done a good job.
And
a lot of lens flare.
Yeah. I mean, they're not without their problems, but the whole genre of science fiction is not without its major glaring problems.
Sure. But he's done a good job with Star Trek.
Again, I'm rare. I'm a mutant. I can't sit through Next Generation. There's
really
to me because I grew up as a kid with the Star Trek cartoon, and the original series.
Interesting.
And Star Trek to me is like Kirk getting his shirt ripped and punching a lizard in the face and plowing some green slave chick. And to me, when
did you think Next Generation was too righteous?
Next Generation was a bunch of guys in turtlenecks sitting around playing triple-decker chess and using the holodeck to reenact Wuthering Heights. And
I can understand that there were times when we would watch Next Generation where people would say that these Star Treks are a lot of talk and not a lot of action.
Yeah, there's a lot of pedantry. There's a lot of special effects that only really amount to somebody with a funny nose or funny ears, with like very strong, odious racial undertones to some of the
and still speak perfect English.
Yeah, and it kind of blew me away. And for a while, that's why I loved I chose Star Wars over Star Trek. It was during that era. We had during Next Generation, there was a lot of Star Wars expanded universe stuff that really kind of like reached out and kind of grabbed you by the imagination. And meanwhile, Star Trek was sitting there. This is how bad Next Generation is, as far as I'm concerned. When I was in college and blowing through, just killing time, like taking wasted time, like philosophy classes. A big part of existentialism and metaphysics was taught based on episodes of Next Generation.
Ooh,
really?
Any particular that you remember?
The transporter analogy.
Well,
was
listen.
the worst.
I mean, there was a lot of analogy and a lot of allegory in Next Generation.
To a fault.
Probably to a fault.
Yeah.
Yeah, because they tried to wrap up really complex storylines with Particle of the Week and then Deus Ex Machina, and then that's it.
Yeah.
We're done. We're good.
It's like to me it was like think of you remember all those boring ass episodes of the original series where they fought an energy being,
Right.
that was like
Nameless,
every
faceless.
if you tuned in and it was a cloud, you just kind of like audibly groaned and changed the channel. Imagine if those episodes were like seasons long, and they engaged the cloud in Sophic debate.
See, I was never a fan of the original series because I just couldn't get past the cheesiness of it all. And maybe that's part of the allure. Maybe that's part of the charm is the cheesiness.
It was interesting because you've got that massive. It's like Doctor Who. The original Doctor Who stuff.
And I never got into that either. My parents would watch it, and I just that curly-headed guy. I just didn't
Tom
get
Baker.
it.
From the 70s.
You've got these guys and these production teams, and like they learn to act in the academy.
Yes.
Oh.
Yes.
So
Fancy.
like they get their clothes from old episodes of Dark Shadows. Like when you watch Star Trek, it's the same way. It's like some guy who builds sets for stage where they don't have to look good past 10 feet.
Sure.
Are making these things, but then you've got all these like hardline actors and these amazing talents. Like Nimoy should not have been on that show, man. He should have been like. I feel for him when you read his biographies. He was so beyond that.
Right.
He should have been working on a singing career. I've heard the ballad of Bilbo Baggins.
Even
it's pretty good.
Even Shatner, as much as a colossal ham as he was, you don't put a windbag like that on daytime television. You put him on the stage, man.
Right.
He'll be chewing up the back seats.
That's for theater. Yeah.
I mean, the guy who played Scotty was a I can't remember his name now, but he's a war hero. Not DeForest Kelly.
Not DeForest Kelly. It'll come to me in a second.
Yeah. When we're well past it, it'll pop into my head.
On your way home.
Yeah, exactly. It's
Doohan.
Thank you.
James Doohan.
Thank you.
I mean, just phenomenal people, a phenomenal ensemble, whether they cared for each other or not,
Right.
and or they wanted to admit
Stage
it.
actors.
Yeah, just absolutely terrific, and a lot of it was the cheesiness, and when you're a kid, you don't give a crap, man. Like it's Fraggle Rock, it's Big Bird. That was the age bracket I was at. And it endeared itself to me. And Star Wars was much the same way. I mean, it's styrofoam glued all over the damn walls.
Right.
And, yeah.
Well, in case you're just joining us, Spider is here to step on our childhood dreams, Star Wars and Star Trek.
No.
But you brought it around to Fraggle Rock, which
That wasn't
was
our childhood dreams. That was our college dreams. College life.
This was
Star
this
Trek.
really roundabout way of saying I saw the leak. We were talking about George Lucas and the CG stuff.
Yeah.
And we should have learned a lesson from that. But I'm looking at the set photos that are being leaked from the new Star Trek movies.
Is
and
it all
they're
green
like,
screen?
exclusive pics on set. And I'm like, on set? And we're like, on set, it's a green hallway.
Right.
Like, it's all green. Every picture was like, where the actors like mugging in front of a green screen.
We should have known then.
I wonder at what point we're just going to replace the actors themselves and maybe rotoscope their faces on some
Tron?
3D.
Well, look what they did with Tron, and look what they did with Michael Douglas and Ant-Man. We're almost replacing them.
Yeah, we're almost there, but that valley of uncanny. What is it called? The Uncanny Valley, where you reject a CGI face or a CGI human because they're not human enough.
Right.
Have we jumped over that valley, or where are we with that?
It depends on how much money they throw at it.
Well, that's
honestly.
close.
You say exclusive pictures on set, and everything is a green screen. Everything's going to be added in later. I mean, I watched a few things last night about the making of I'm sorry to admit this, but Transformers: Age of Extinction. I mean, that movie was a piece of crap, but I mean, technically,
I liked that. If I was going to like any of
fantastic.
those films, I would like that.
That
one.
was the
You
one.
are a wrong person. That is the worst.
You think that was worse than the one that they shot with no script?
What, the second one?
They shot that during the writers'
All right,
strike.
look, the second one was bad, but holy crap, Marky Mark fighting the robots,
Right.
way worse.
You know what's weird about that is, you can't fault. They are what they are, and by that I mean I know for a fact that Mark Wahlberg is a terrific actor.
Yes, he
I
is.
know for a fact Michael Bay. I hate
make a
Michael
good
Bay
movie.
with a boiling passion for but
For many reasons, yeah.
but one of my favorite movies is Pain and Gain.
Oh, I saw that in the theater. That was Michael Bay not being Michael Bay for once. You know, it was a fantastic movie.
But they hire him to be Michael Bay. They hire him because they
Mark
want
Wahlberg again.
There is like a formula, like an algorithm that you apply to a film in order to get a $300 million return, and they hire him because he is good at applying that formula.
What happened?
And we're the stupid lemmings who will just
Don't-
here. Let's
right,
go
right.
watch it
But-
again.
but
Let's
he
go
could-
watch
he
it
could be
again. Let's go
applying-
watch it
yeah,
again.
he could be applying that formula to anything. If you want to blame anybody for those films, don't blame Bay. Blame, and I'll put it out there. Blame Don Murphy because can I swear on this?
Sure, go. It's
But Don Murphy is a reeking, festering pile of shit, and I say that with
love and
all
respect.
honesty and no hyperbole. I will refer you back to his comments directly to fans on his own message boards prior to the release of the first film, when everybody was still excited.
Tell everybody who that person is.
He is one of the people involved in the ground floor of producing the Transformers franchise.
Okay.
He was Michael B. Jordan of Fantastic Four fame before that was even a thing. Literally going up there and the fan, Don. Big fan of your former work. Huge Transformers fan. I'm super stoked for the film. I've got a few questions here about we're all kind of wondering, and we know you'll give us the great answers for it. We're wondering about Optimus Prime. We're wondering about Megatron and the design choices that you guys have made, and some of the casting and stuff. And some people are worried, and we're hoping that you could alleviate some of our fears. And it was literally and I've never seen such unprofessional, immature behavior in a man that's making that much money. Well, I mean, there is Donald Trump, but it was literally. Literally STF you fags, you'll go see it anyways. LOL, you screw you nerds. I do
Right.
what I want. I paid for this. And
Wow.
it was
What sucks
terrible.
is that he's right though. People will still go see it.
Yeah.
Blame guys like that.
Age of
Blame,
Extinction
yeah.
made what $900
It made
million
its money
dollars.
back and then some. Yeah.
Yeah.
Holy crap,
You-
we're dumb.
Yeah, you blame guys like Aaron Kruger who writes the scripts for these things. It could be they lie a lot about where they get their influences from, but any diehard Transformers fan could go through those films and cherry pick where they are getting which episodes of the original series they're pulling all their MacGuffins from and all their plot devices. And honestly, I mean, maybe they're the movies we deserve. Everybody goes and they complains about them, and they're like,
Batman.
the robot, the animation looks retarded, and the plots don't make any sense, and there's all these errors. And Starscream's voice came out of Megatron's mouth in that third scene,
Did
and
it?
the human beings are annoying, and everything is racist. And then you go back and you watch the old cartoon, and the animation sucks, and
Right.
Starscream's voice comes out of Megatron's mouth in the third scene, and the human beings are obnoxious.
But we love
and there's
it.
a Middle Eastern country called Carbamia, and it's. I mean, it is a giant Saturday morning cartoon show from the 80s.
I think the problem is, as children, we watch these shows, we have this nostalgia, and we believe with all of our heart and all of our mind that this was the most awesome thing ever. And then when we see it realized in a real life depiction of it, we're like, what the hell, man? This is But if those
And you
people if those people went back and watched the actual cartoons, they might see it with different eyes as an adult, rational human thinking person.
But you don't make a movie based on the cartoon. You make a movie based on how that cartoon made you feel.
Right.
I was actually interviewed for Wired magazine briefly on a piece.
I used to love Wired.
Yeah. 80s nostalgia.
Sure.
And I had just gotten on the Transformers ride for the first time, and I came out of it, and they're interviewing me about it. And I think the thing I said was, you don't realize until you get to the end of it that all any man in their 30s really ever wanted or needed in their lives was for Optimus Prime to take a knee, look you square in the eyes, and say that he's proud of you.
Right.
I had no idea that was an emotional trigger until I got on their ride. I'm like, oh God, what's happening?
Somebody did the research there.
Yeah, you look at Daredevil. Fox does Daredevil. It's one of the biggest embarrassments of superhero cinema.
Oh, I'm not there yet. I haven't watched it yet.
No. You're talking about the movie?
Netflix does Daredevil.
He's talking about the movie, Ben Affleck.
Okay.
And it's the same guy, the same source material, the same everything. It's just one guy got it and one guy didn't. And, whoever that guy was, whether it was a producer, a scriptwriter, a director, an executive later on down the line, I mean, you look at what IDW does with their comics right now. IDW is a comic book company that is essentially made out of side properties and franchises from the 80s that it has bought.
Right. X-Files is one of them. I collected season 10 of IDW's season 10 of the X-Files.
God, nobody gets it like IDW gets it.
Yeah.
And if you're an adult and you've been a longtime fan and you've been keeping up with the IDW Transformers books, to turn around and watch those movies, it makes you want to slit somebody's throat.
I'm going to say more times than not, it has to be the producers getting in there and saying, I put the money into this, I want to see this.
Well, Kevin
Right.
Smith and guys like that would definitely want you to believe that, certainly, and it might be true, but it might also be that the guys like Kevin Smith and Josh Trank, who recently directed Fantastic Four, really just don't want you to be mad at them.
Maybe.
Yeah, I mean-
maybe,
I
but
mean-
but I do have firsthand experience with producers, and they have different ideas of how they want to spend the money to make the film
Sure.
better.
Yeah.
And sometimes they don't know what's going to make a film better.
And when they don't know that, they should just get out of the way.
But they
they
have
don't.
too much invested, and they believe that
Oh, yeah.
it's the risk of their money not doing well if they're not in control. If they're in control and they sink the ship, okay, they sunk the ship. But if they're not in control, if somebody else sinks their ship, they're pissed.
Certainly. Well, it makes them sound like saints, but honestly, I, as a fabricator, and I take private commissions, and I work for companies, and I work for individuals. I know I do agree that firsthand. 60% of what I do when I am on a project is negotiate and assuage the feelings of the person I am working for.
Right.
Because
What was that word? Assuage?
Assuage. I read it, but I never speak it out loud.
You're right.
God, I'm so not educated.
Well, I've got guys, and there's nothing particularly wrong with them as a person. They just can't pre-visualize.
Are you speaking perhaps about cosplayers with their costumes, or is this something?
Yeah. I'll get cosplay clients, or I'll get people on large scenic projects, and I'll. This I mentioned in another interview. This store is a perfect example. When I was trying to explain one of the most basic scenic features in the store, the pop-out graphics all along the walls, to the to the people in the mall, they looked at me like I was a flippin' space alien. I was tearing little pieces of paper out of a piece of printer paper and stacking them like a pop-up book to try to show them a visual representation, and they still didn't get it.
They couldn't comprehend a 3D.
No.
Okay.
They don't have the mental vocabulary for putting that sort of thing together. By
the way, if anybody's listening to this, what he's talking about is very little in this store is flat.
Right.
Like there's such a third dimension to a lot of the artwork in this store. It really blows my mind, and so many things to look at that will just dazzle your senses, your eyes. Like right now, I'm looking at 6 different things right now that are in a third dimension,
And perhaps if you're managing a mall, you just can't comprehend that.
No, because you're used to seeing a flat picture on your wall, and that's your decor. That's it.
Yeah, and it's not. They're not to blame. I mean, from a factual standpoint, there are people out there who just can't think. Who are just not visual thinkers. There are people out there again who can't pre-conceptualize. There are people out there that have never picked up a hammer and nails. There are. And you can't blame them for it. It's not a fault. It's not a character flaw. But it's their money. It's their timetable. It's their deadline. It's their hopes and dreams. And they've definitely and they know nothing about it. And they are dumping it completely in your hands. And I have like paint certifications and stuff like that. But I'm not like a licensed artist. There is no such thing. There's no vetting process. So I get constant text messages, flurries of email messages, panic attacks, begging, borrowing, yelling at me, threatening me, making stuff up, lying to me about deadlines, things like that, and they're panicking. They have no idea. So yeah, I can definitely see the producers,
of these movies,
feeling the exact same way, and they're.
What was the most recent failure
Fantastic
film?
Four?
Yeah, where the director
Fantastic
stepped
failure.
away and said this was not my movie.
He's a liar. Yeah.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, he's a liar. Word on the street is that he was drunken on drugs
When
for
he
most of the
tweeted-
performance. For most of the production. He would hide in his trailer for most of the production.
He was in over his head with this movie.
He was out of his head for most of this movie.
As I understand it, the director should be on set
Yeah.
most of the time.
Yes.
The actors, as much as we want to credit them for their past achievements, were apparently vitriolic and completely contrary, especially to the fan base going into it. Michael B. Jordan got up and started complaining about the insensitive overtones and undertones of a interview that he did prior to the film's release.
Right.
About asking, so you're, such startling questions as
She's white
as-
and you're black.
Yeah, what's up with that?
Right,
And things
brother
like
and
that.
sister,
and,
right?
and was acted very put upon about this interview, mainly because it didn't cast him or the film in a very good light. He didn't
Right.
have a lot of answers for them because he knew the film was going to be,
He knew.
balls awful. But not. How long ago was it that Michael B. Jordan was talking to the fans and being like, "It doesn't matter. You losers are going to go see this no matter what."
Mm-hmm.
So
Well,
nobody gets out of
Doomed
this
to failure.
Yeah, nobody gets out of Fantastic Four clean. It was everybody's fault from the top down.
Do you anticipate, speaking of Fantastic Four and its possible failure, probable failure, do you see this as maybe
it has failed. It has
maybe
been
a
a
turning
complete
point for superhero movies?
No.
No, just a blip in an outlier?
Yeah, we've always known, anybody in the know, I feel, knows to ignore anything Fox does.
Oh, yeah? Okay.
I hear Days of Future Past was good, but much like with Star Wars, they fooled me enough times with up until that point. Up until that point, all that we had gotten out of the franchise that was decent was 2 action scenes from the second film that they did.
From the second X-Men movie.
Yeah. So, and this is I've said this before, but Fox makes superhero movies like they're embarrassed.
Huh?
Yeah. Oh, you look at the first X-Men movie. I mean, they got like superpowers, but don't worry, we like nerf them, and they won't be wearing any of those fruity spandex costumes. We'll put them in that cool leather shit that you guys liked from the Matrix, and they got like funny names, but we won't.
We'll give them their real names
Yeah,
as well.
we'll
Yeah,
play
everyone
down.
had 2 names.
We'll play everything down quite a bit. We'll keep it quiet. We'll just kind of push it through, guys, and bear with us. We'll all get through it. Meanwhile, again, Marvel went in just like completely balls deep, like first film, like, and then now we've got like raccoons with machine guns and,
Right.
and shrinking dudes, and
Fox was too cautious, but Marvel was all in.
yeah, and Fox has stayed that way the entire flipping time. And they don't pay attention to it. It's great that X-Men features a time travel element, and they can just reboot all their mistakes because this was a continuity nightmare to begin with. It was a special effects debacle. You want to talk about bad CG? Emma Frost's After Effects crystal skin.
Yeah.
Beast with the only guy in first class with serious practical effects, and they didn't use CG to
No.
move his eyeballs out, so he was cross-eyed. And
No.
well, you don't make the dude's head this wide and then keep his eyes this close
Same
together.
size.
Oh, that's you know what? Good point.
True.
Yeah.
Well, we've got about a minute or 2 left before we hit the 1 hour mark. One of the reasons we wanted you to come over here, so let us know about what we're going to start doing once a week here on
It
top
was
of
a
this.
great podcast, by the way.
On top of this
My bad.
podcast, we're going to once a week do
Nerd
a
rage.
toy review. Give us an idea a little
Oh,
bit of
yes.
what you hope to achieve with some toy reviews.
Oh my goodness. Well, me and a couple of the other guys in the store here, we've got our own personal little fandoms, and we're all huge toy collectors. My wife, Q, who's normally on here, big Monster High fan.
Where is
that
she
sort of
tonight?
thing. She's running amok in some theme park right now.
Okay.
with her
Okay,
friends.
very
But,
good. She'll have a story for us next
yeah.
week. Good.
Well, we just kind of want to call people's attention to some of the amazing things that we have in the store that we want to get in the store if we can get enough interest in getting them. There's just
I feel like even with the internet and even with being in the know, there's a lot of toys out there that people don't know about.
Oh yeah, certainly. People come in here for various reasons, and normally, again, like fandom can be very insular.
Yeah.
And there's a whole world to these collectibles. There's a whole history to them, and I'm a huge fan. Sort of comprehensively. There's a lot that I don't know about. I mean, if you ask me about Mask, I'd be hard pressed to tell you anything about it. But vintage toys. We've got, we get like old Mouseketeer merchandise in here. We get old tin robots in here, and I love this stuff. I live for this stuff, and I want to share my excitement. We want to share our excitement and our enthusiasm and our knowledge with people out there and get them as excited about it too. There's a whole world here that can be opened up, and we just kind of want to like talk about some of the stuff that's coming out and give people a little bit of background and history on this memorabilia and these collectibles too. There's so but much like with movies, there's all these secret underground stories that go on in this industry and in all sorts of fandom, from comic books to music, and maybe people don't know about that, or maybe people are in on it online, but they have no forum for it, they have no community for it, and we kind of want to open that up. So hopefully we'll be able to do that.
This episode that you're watching right now will be posted on Monday morning usually. We expect to put all toy reviews on Friday evenings. Let us know what you expect us to find on the first Friday episode.
And if you have any suggestions for anything that you'd like to see get reviewed and talked about on here.
Absolutely. Just send it to the Facebook and just give us ideas. What do you want us to review for the first episode coming this Friday?
Oh, man. I think Mouse is going to be here. Mouse is a huge construction toy enthusiast, like Legos, that sort of thing. He's going to be here discussing a few new pieces that he's got. I'm going to have a few pieces that I've got. I think one of the main topics we're going to be discussing in the first couple of interviews is third-party and off-brand manufacturers from overseas, which is becoming a huge, booming cottage industry, and how the official big companies are handling them or not handling them. So we're going to have a few examples here here on the podcast, and we're going to talk about them. And we're also going to discuss the evolution of art toys, from lowbrow urban vinyl kid robot stuff all the way up to high-end things that are coming out now from 3A, 3.0, those sort of companies. So we'll have some examples.
Okay, so starting this week, expect to see something twice a week now on the YouTube page. That's Gods and Monsters. Oh, I have the actual page now. YouTube.com/C/Gods and Monsters show for the YouTube page. Go to the Facebook page. You can find out about that. So twice a week now, you'll be seeing YouTube shows. We've just doubled the amount of shows we're going to do each week now.
Nice.
We'll do our normal weekly podcast, and we're going to do a toy review every week, something new for you to look at. So my name is Art Miles.
My name is Greg Moan.
I am Spider.
And you can find us on the Facebook page, and you can find us on the YouTube page. Thanks for watching. We will see you next week. Bye-bye.